future generations could get this urge. Stay woke, youngin', and avenge these nerds.
Oh man, wait, no, this is wrong. There we go.
What's going on, man?
This is wrong. There we go. It's up, guys. It's Tuesday night. It's your host Sebastian.
Your boy Law.
And your boy Tone from across the hall. What's up?
And I am feeling great because last week was technical difficulty week. Congrats to our guests last
wild.
It was a wild week. Good episode, though. Good chat, good conversation that we had. You know, congrats to the crew for hitting their goal in 3 hours. You know,
yo, that's
Casey and they hit it in an hour. That was just dope. I'm just loving the Kickstarter energy that we're seeing because a lot of people are hitting their Kickstarters and everything and just like blasting them out there, man. It's like holy shit. Well, forgive me, guys, because also too we have a new member of the family whose name is Willow. It's not a baby. No, it is a dog. Yes, me and the wife have adopted a dog now. And she keeps me running, gets me up early in the morning. So if I look like I have bags on my eyes, it's because you get no sleep.
He's blaming it on the dog.
I do. I get up at 7.
Hello, Cheyenne.
What's up, Cheyenne?
Man, what's up?
What's up?
So let's get on with some announcements. Yes.
Arella says she wants to see the dog.
She is asleep.
You're gonna have to post it on the gram.
I'm gonna have to post it on the gram. I will be posting it up. Actually, do I have a picture? I think I do.
The next time, we'll send a picture.
Yes, we will get a picture of her and Pepper together. But I will tell you, the dog's name is Willow. Willow is the dog's name. Awesome name for the dog. Anyway, let's get to some announcements. Please, guys, subscribe to us on the YouTube, follow us on TikTok, follow us on Instagram, give us the support there and everything. We promise more content is coming for that. Also, too, I want to give it a big apologies for the fact that we are delayed in Creator Series interviews, so we are backed up. So we are going to start steadily releasing some of those now. Again, technical issue week also put us behind on that, so they are coming. We may be dropping 2 this week. And there goes Pepper. there goes one of the Nerds mascots right there.
That's right.
Yeah, you got all that. He booped Willow on the head. He gives him the boops. Also, guys, please go to Imbion.com to check out everything there. That's Imbion. You can check out the con. You can check out all the products. You can even check out the Medusa's Cascade podcast. If you're into Dungeons and Dragons podcast, Medusa's Cascade gets released every Saturday. We're like on episode 40 plus right now with that D&D podcast.
Really close. I think we're like a few episodes away from 50. Which is
really phenomenal. And just Tom, give a shout out to the whole crew and Tommy. I mean, you got Law right here,
and we have a whole new campaign, 2 campaigns coming out very soon.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
There's so much going on.
But guys, we're in spooky season. It is October. It is scary month. We got a 2-segment episode this week, which. Again, there are no shows, but if you guys want to hear us talk about Squid Game, tune in next week because we have an awesome artist, Miriam Yu, coming on, who's been drawing some fantastic Squid Game art. So if you want to hear our thoughts on Squid Game, come next week. But today, for Spooky Month, we're going to be talking monsters a little bit later, movie monsters and everything. But we're here with a gentleman who we got to interview before about his comic called Lords of the Cosmos, which was a pretty interesting book that we got to talk about, got to learn more about him, saw his dope inking style and everything, and just this magnum opus of a comic that we got to see and all that, and got to build a great relationship with him. I love that he's also into aliens and everything because he shares all the stuff with Aliens, the Colonial Marines. I see him posting all the stuff and all that, but he has a Kickstarter out right now that you guys want to add to your collection. And it's the perfect Kickstarter for spooky season. And if you know someone who likes spooky gifts, please support this Kickstarter. Get multiple of them. I mean, he's already fully filling his goal, but it doesn't hurt to get him up there even more. He's the creator of the game.
We love those push goals.
We love the push goals. Yeah. Force him to make push goals. Force him to add more stuff to this Kickstarter. But it's awesome because it's called the Satanic Coloring Book. I want to give a shout out and welcome back to the show, Jason Lenox. Jason, what's up?
Guys, hey, what's going on? I forgot how many people talk to me about aliens because I have all these complete rabbit hole things on Facebook, so I can always post up something. I just put a scale drawing some maniac made of the Sulaco I think yesterday on Facebook, and people are like, interesting.
You posted the thing with the Legos, didn't? Like, I think you posted the thing with the Legos.
The Lego APC. I mean, it's endless, right? There's an endless stream of content on Aliens, which I loved it when I was 11 when I saw it in theaters, and what is it? 34 years later, I'm still like, It's just we keep micro analyzing it for every possible tidbit. It never gets old.
You already got Cheyenne. Since I said I'll take my money.
Cheyenne's ready. Wait till she sees the video, right? It's 80% uploaded, so we'll be able to
get it. We're gonna play that video when we get it. But I do want to showcase this. So please tell us, Jason. And first of all, what up, George?
What's up?
George, what's up?
And again, just to answer Aurelis' question, yes, we promise we will have a picture of the dogs just for you guys for the holidays. We'll get a holiday picture. But Jason, tell us what was the inspiration behind the Satanic Coloring Book, which again, congratulations. You've knocked this Kickstarter out the park. But please tell us, what was the inspiration?
So I like to keep a lot of diversity in my artwork. So a lot of people know me through doing things like Lords of the Cosmos, because I love 80s comic book cartoon madness, and Lords of the Cosmos is my magnum opus journey in there. But I also do other things sometimes simultaneously. So for the last about 6 years, I've been doing a lot of satanic art for freelance customers. And then I did enough that I started to kind of get to know a lot of people in that community. And then that community started to give me more work because I made them look good. I mean, for lack of a better word. So I really got to know the people in that community. And I really fell in love with a lot of the feel and the people and just kind of exploring and really being welcomed by all those people. And it's funny because you start talking to people in a community. In this case, it's kind of a it's a religious group, but there's a lot of pop culture influences with Satanism. And it was like, you do all this artwork, but the black and white stuff is really tight. Will you make a coloring book? And I was like, no, I don't want to do that, because that's how my personality is. I'm always quick to say no. And you keep hearing it over and over and over again. So between Lords of the Cosmos 2 and 3, I said, you know what? I think I'm going to do this. So, but I didn't know how. So I was at a thing called Drink and Draw in State College where I live. And there was an artist there that he's local, and he's a friend named Brian Allen. You guys maybe don't know who Brian Allen is, but you probably know something that he made. So he's the guy that made Gritty for the NHL's Flyers. So he's
Gritty.
He's the guy that made up Gritty. And he said, what are you up to? And I said, I'm trying to make a coloring book, but I said, I don't know where to go. And it's kind of got the whole thing stymied. And he said, well, if you go near the mall, there's a place called KB Offset Printing. And he goes, they do coloring books. And I said, get out of here. So I went and had a meeting with the general manager, Ray. And he outlined that we could do it. He goes, we do these things all the time. We're a big player in the worldwide coloring book market. And I was kind of like, okay, well, now I've got the resource to do it. So when I wrapped up Lords of the Cosmos 4 in February, I started doing two things: producing the comic book to get it out to our Kickstarter backers in September, which was on time. And then I had a meeting with Ray and a really good friend, Danny Zemba, that does a lot of coloring and graphic work for my projects. And we had a meeting and said, this is what we're going to do. And I collected all the artwork that I had, which was I think 68 pieces. And then we kind of made a decision to split the book into 2 books. And that's why we have Volume 1 Rituals, which is kind of the adults only content. And then Animals, which is the all ages, you could show it to your kids kind of stuff. And lo and behold, the Satanic Coloring Book started coming together in March, which the idea was to launch it in October. So I launched it October 5th. So, at the same time, I'm also working on Lords of the Cosmos 5 and 6 right now at the same time. So for me, I like to mix it up. So the Satanic Coloring Book is basically me putting a bow on the last 6 years of doing this kind of work, because I enjoy it, because just for me, with my brain, it helps me to do different stuff. So I like to do fan art. I like to do my comic. I like to do occult and satanic art. It helps me mix it up so it's not just the same stuff. And you get to know some artists that tend to do the same thing over and over and over again. And to me, that gets stale. So for me, I like to mix it up. So Like I said, this is 6 years of work all kind of put together in a theme that I would have never thought I would have made a coloring book, but it all just worked out. And I'm really, really proud of it. And I think it's an awesome project. And I think it's pretty unique.
Yeah, for sure.
There you go. So Cheyenne is sold. For those who want to support the Kickstarter, the link is there. And for those who want to learn more about Jason, in the description, all is there, including the interview that we did with Jason to learn more about Lords of the Cosmos as well.
Yes.
But again, your ink style is fantastic. And Lens, again, like I said, I was a big fan of your inks and still am. And I just love your line work on this, man. I mean,
I think what was a lot of fun for people with what I do with my satanic art is, obviously there are a ton of, Christian churches, all different types and faiths. And one of the things that they've always done really well is architecture and design, the stained glass, the symbolism. So one of the things I tried to do was to really wrap my head around satanic symbolism and to try to treat it like you would if it was in a building. So I designed a satanic flag, satanic stained glass, a satanic heraldic coat of arms, so that these are all things that if you're in that faith and you're in that community, you'd say, wow, this person put a visual language together for me. Right.
Yeah.
And, some people don't care about it, but those people are outside of the community. I've gotten a really positive feedback over the years to creating these things where it's like, wow, okay, you've made the things that we hold very important. You made it look really cool and you made it look like it's important. And that makes me feel good, knowing that, if I was able to uplift the community and to say, hey, let's take everything and let me, become part of the group and uplift, and have fun with the visual symbols and have some fun,
Dude, I again, Pug. Guys, if you're not supporting for the Devil Pug, I don't know, you're kind of dead, man.
Well, the Devil cow on the screen is funny because I posted a lot of this stuff in coloring book groups, and there was a guy that flipped out on me in Facebook. He goes, "That cow is an agenda," and I was like, "What's the agenda?" And then he's like, "You know what the agenda is," and I was like, "I don't." And then
I don't. Explain it to me though.
No, it's finally, you got to do your own research. I can't tell you.
Yeah, I said, "It's the cow, I hurt you," and then I got thrown out of the group.
I should have been like, the got milk agenda. Like, yeah, making sure you're drinking your milk, not that almond shit. Come on.
Yeah.
Oh,
so,
man.
I mean, that's one of the weird things about this stuff is the word satanic still has the power to make people feel incredibly uncomfortable. And then when you ask them why, it's kind of a weird combination of they saw a Geraldo Rivera special in 1986 that scared them. And then a lot of the old Hammer films from the 60s and
Geraldo
70s.
Rivera, the anti-Hispanic.
Wow.
Yeah, he did a lot of kind of scaremongering, like the Geraldo Rivera type journalists. So these are some models that I worked with over the last couple of years. Some of them are clients, some are ones that I've worked with to create some big projects together with. So I got to work with some big hitters in the adult BDSM world. So they all asked to be included in the project because they were like, this is cool. Like, we appreciate what you're doing. Like this supports us. Some of them are using it as merchandise for their brand. So there was a lot of people involved in this besides the Satanic Pug. So it's pretty cool.
I love, again, it shows again the community and all that, and everybody, dude. Again, your inks, I am just blasted away by them. But I got the video because you had, I believe it was it Lady V that did the voiceover?
Yeah, yep. Well, it's actually Lady Vi. It's short for
Lady Vi. Oh, okay.
Violence,
I just want to
right?
make sure I'm saying it. See, woo. It isn't the hissing cat, the Baphomet toy. Sorry, I can't even pronounce it. Pride cat. I'm just loving it. I'm going to congratulate you again because you killed it with Lord of the Cosmos Kickstarter. You're killing it with this Kickstarter. Mm-hmm. Cheyenne already wants to buy a book because again, we want to get you more up there. We want to double your intake.
19 days left. What do you do with that much time
left,
except create more things to give away?
So there are a couple $100 away from our first stretch goal, which is I will make 2 new animal pages. I will do a wolf and I will do a pig.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
And once we hit that, I'm gonna unveil 2 more random animals to add to the mix. So it's fun.
There it is. There it is.
Can we add what was it, a husky?
Oh my god.
Maybe.
That's essentially the wolf.
There you go.
That's right.
You just instead of the blue eyes, you just add red eyes. You'd be good to go.
There it
Oh,
is.
I love this. And then they have the option of getting colored prints, guys. You get options of getting t-shirts. I love the shirt. I'm gonna have to.
There's a coloring menu. You can get me and my kids to color for. You get my wife to color. You can get some of the models, some of the artists. There's all kinds of people you can like pay to color.
That's great.
Dope.
But I'm going to play the Kickstarter video for you guys so that this way we can get the full experience, because obviously Kickstarter audio doesn't want to play directly with the screen share. So let me share that beautiful beam footage. You guys ready?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Greetings, sinners. Join Jason Lenox as he presents the Satanic Coloring Book, Volumes 1 and 2. Volume 1, Rituals, focuses on the ceremonies of Jason's infernal and erotic satanic artwork, featuring Jason's signature satanic stained glass and heraldry, legendary satanic characters Baphomet and Lilith, dark and grotesque rites designed to arouse and fascinate you as you color. Volume 2, Animals, is a second all-ages journey into the world of Satanism, with a demonic bestiary for you to explore, highlighted by devil dogs, unholy goats, and Jason's favorite, satanic cats. Are you ready to color deliciously? Then hail Satan and back the Satanic Coloring Book, Volumes 1 and 2. Now on Kickstarter.
That's a commercial.
Nicely
cool.
done.
Solid commercial, solid voiceover.
Thank you.
Getting people ready to go.
Tone, I have to tell you that video was one of the hardest things I ever had to make, because I had to make a script, and I'd never written a script for what I'll call commercial, and that is freaking hard, even though it's only like a minute and change. And then
A minute is a very long time, depending on where you are.
Long or short, really, and because you want to make sure you get all your points and all your information, and she hits it. So whatever, solid,
not too much.
crisp. Yeah.
What's that? I'm sorry, Tone.
No. That's it. Like, to your point, you said not too much. You just got to make it nice and crisp and make people like, yeah, I need this in my life. I need to color and drink some wine, and this is what I want to color, because the coloring books and Barnes and Nobles and Amazon do not fit my appetite.
Yeah.
And then doing a voiceover, because Lady Vi had never done voiceover, so that was kind of like, she was like, I'll try it, I'll do it, and that is brutal, because she read everything like 30 times.
Wow.
And then she knew how to do it, but she never did it, so she read it like 30. So it's like she sent me like 40 minutes of audio where she just reads it and rereads it. But what happens is, it's like you'll read it and make it, you'll screw up a word, but then you can like splice chunks together to make it sound right.
Yeah.
And then Randy Faust, Dark Art Randy on Twitter, he put it all together. And then, having to go back through it and say, hey, when they say crayons, make the crayons appear on the verbal cue. And then, one of my other clients is Dead Animal Assembly Plant. They're a metal band from Oregon. And I said, can we use some music? And they were like, we just did some instrumental music. You can use it. We really would love to be part of your project. So it was coordinating a lot of people for a minute 7. So I have a new appreciation for people doing ads, because I never realized how hard they were to do.
Yeah. I mean, but also, like, it's a testament to you, because you just have all of these contacts and people that you're working with that, trust your craft and believe in your craft, that you're just able to pull on and say, hey, can we do this? Can I work with you here? And they're all like, yeah, we want to be a part of the project. We want to support you, so that's just definitely, a testament to you and everything that you stand for. And like, you definitely see it, because doing a 1-minute crisp commercial by yourself with voiceover and editing and music, like that's a huge gig, and people are just offering to work with you, and that's awesome, man.
Yeah, and I really appreciate the kind words there, because I always try to, whether it's someone I'm working with, whether it's a customer, whether it's guys like you that do podcasting, I always try to just treat everybody by the golden rule, as corny as that sounds. Like, treat people with respect, be kind, be considerate. And it's amazing that if you treat people in a polite way and treat them respectfully, it's amazing how many people are there to lift you up because you're not out there being negative, So I just try my best, again, no matter where they are in my world, whether they're somebody that I pay to work for me or they're giving me money or whatever, just, so when you need help, they're there, and that's how you build a community around yourself, is just by being what you want around you, and you'll get it back.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I got one more here. The Devil Farmer. Please tell me, how did this come about, this photo shoot?
So every couple of years I do a promotional photo shoot. So that picture it's almost painful to look at. So I had this idea of doing that, the American Gothic, and I drew the background. I got a 3D model of that house, and I drew the house, which is, again, you got to make it just like the house. And then I had Jesse Higgy color it for me, and I said, color it like it's in hell. And then literally COVID hit, and then the whole thing got stopped. And then I went through a process of buying things and working with the young lady in that picture. Hi, Taylor. Taylor Stewart from Altoona. And she is not a model, but she's a friend that helps me out at shows, but she said, I'd love to do it. And then her and I were shopping online to get all the bits and pieces and props that we're wearing, down to the necklace and pins. And then when we went to shoot the photograph at my friend Dave Gibson's studio, there was even stupidity. Like, I bought a pitchfork from a Farm and Home Supply in Indiana online. The pitchfork was black, and then it's in front of my black outfit, and we're like, we can't see it. So Dave had to run and get a can of silver spray paint so we could paint it in his backyard so we could see it. And then there was the insanity of that pose, which just seems like two people standing side by side. That picture was painful because we had to shoot that like 80 times to get that exact pose, because we had a picture of the portrait that everyone knows.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, wait, hold on. That doesn't really work with perspective. So they both, so you have to like stand her on an angle. And, we're shooting pictures, we're putting tape around our feet. So like, okay, picture 7 is this tape mark. And, it looks like a very just kind of like, hey, whatever snapshot. That picture, it hurt my knees and feet.
Oh, no.
Because it's like, put your hand, you put your hands like this. But if you go like this, is too much. And you're like this. And if we actually stood side by side, it wasn't on the right angle. And then Doug Cooper, who's a photographer that I got to know through Lady Vi, and he travels all over the country doing photography for models. He was kind enough to composite the photograph with the artwork.
Nice.
Nice.
So the whole thing was just, I mean, it was a cool shoot, or a cool product, but it's just one. It was
tough.
The next.
Listen,
For real.
as a photographer who like, I've had friends be like, can you recreate this photo? It is not as easy as like, yeah, because I guarantee someone's gonna move the wrong way, look the wrong direction. You're just like, I'm trying to recreate my childhood photo. I get it, but it's not the same.
Well, you know what it's like? It would be like if someone made some weird, like I shoot a basketball off a wall into a hoop, and you're like, that's neat, do it again.
Yep, absolutely. That same energy.
You're sitting there being like, okay, it worked once, but you doing it again, it might take you 1,000 tries to get that same random thing. So it was very physically difficult. So I'll be like, oh, it's a cute picture. I'm like, that picture is like year and a half from start to finish, year and a half.
Yeah.
Oh man, I definitely that's something that you had to film and capture the bloopers and be like, yep, here's the gag reel just for this photo. Here you go.
Well, now you tell me, right? Now we could have done it. We didn't do it.
Well, now you know for next time.
I know, right? It'll be a while before I do one of those things. I have no, it's like people are like, when's volume 3 of the coloring book? I'm like, I'm trying to get through 1 and 2. You're killing me, right? Stop giving me more work to do.
That was gonna be my question, because you already got like, you're already miles ahead of like where your goal was. So like, do you start now looking to plan for that kind of thing, or you're just like, let me get through this, and when I have like the time and energy, I'll put it into volume 3?
So I think one of the cool things about these coloring books was they were organic. The art that was made for them was they were just made. So it's just, I just made things to make them. And then it's kind of like a piggy bank that you're putting coins in. One day you turn around, you have a lot of money. So I think there will be a third coloring book, but I think it'll just be as I do freelance pieces that are satanic, I'll just put them in a folder. And then one day I'll turn around and have 23 of them or 24 and be like, okay, that's enough. And then you can just execute another one. So I think, yes, there will be, but I don't think that it will be some very concentrated effort. Like doing a comic book is. I just think it'll be, hey, next year I'll do 4 of them and then I'll have, plus 4. And then it could take another couple years, but there's no rush.
What would be the next theme? If you had to like think of one.
Man, I don't even have an answer. I'd have to sit. I'd probably have to take a look at the art, because when I had the art for these things, with rituals, there was like a communion piece and there was a ritual piece, and there were some that were that reminded me of actual rituals, and then the other one was just animals. So it just made sense to say ritual, animals. Like I drew a guy that kind of looked like a Freemason. It's very ritualistic. So that just made sense. So I think to answer your question, I think whatever the art that will be made, I'll look at it and say, this art looks like something, you know what I mean? I just don't know what that is, but I think it'll speak to me, and it'll say, this is what you've made looks a lot like this. And you'll say that's what it is. It's a good question.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like that you said that too, because like these themes, like how you said, they came organically. It wasn't like, oh, let's do this theme. This theme will work. Here we go. It's just, and like you said, you let the work flow for you on that, which I think is going to be dope. And it gets me excited to see, like, when you do come out with a volume 3, what the theme that the work led you to create and all that. But we also know that eventually we're also going to get another Kickstarter, which we're going to get you back on the show for, which is Lords of the Cosmos, because we definitely want to get you back on that, because we want to hear more about that story. And congratulations to you. You were also at a convention recently out. I believe there was a convention in Pennsylvania during New York City Comic Con week. You were doing one in person as well. You were getting to talk to the crowd and everything. So I hope you got to get the word out even more, Lord of the Cosmos in person and everything, and the Satanic Coloring Book. But I want to congratulate you on this, bro, because again, we are excited for you that you're killing it right now, man.
I really appreciate it. No, and I've been blessed. I did 2 conventions in the last 2 months. I did Harrisburg Comic-Con in September, and I did the Sci-Fi Valley Con in Altoona, which is in Western Pennsylvania near me, this month. And then this coming weekend, I'll be in Baltimore, in Inner Harbor at the Baltimore Convention Center at table C10. So if anyone's going to be in Baltimore, I'll be at C10 and Artist Alley. So those will be my 3 conventions so far this year. Then I'm doing a 4th one in November. I'm doing Horror Realm in Pittsburgh at the Pittsburgh Crown South, but it's called Horror Realm. And I think Kane Hodder's going to be there.
Oh shit.
Nice.
So always exciting to meet some creepy horror celebrities that are gigantic people.
Well, I'm hoping that the horror convention comes back to Atlantic City and you end up doing that too, because that's like 30 minutes for me. I know that they usually do a horror con around there. I don't know the months, but I'm going to have to pick on my buddy about that. But you know what? We're in spooky month and we wanted to hit you up with this. And I thank you for coming on with this one. But now let's talk about some monsters, because, that's something that we all love to talk about, some monsters, because Jason, I know on your Facebook and everything, you be posting a lot about monsters, about some funny stuff, aliens and all that. So we're gonna let you lead in with some fun monsters of yours. And I don't know, let's just have fun with this, because there was just no format thought of. We're just like, you know what? Format today, monsters. It's horror, it's spooky month. Last year we watched bad horror movies, which I know I'm still getting picked on about that, because Tone got to watch Rawhead Rex for the first time.
Yeah, that was awful. That was not good. That was not a good time.
That was rough.
That was not a good time at all. No.
Like,
no, sir, I don't like it.
Yeah. For context, like if you've never seen Rawhead Rex, there's a very particular scene in it that Tone was like, if I have to watch this, Law, you have to watch this too. And I was like, nah, but I don't want to. They made me watch it, and I just had so many questions. I think
everyone who's seen. Go ahead, Jason.
Wasn't Rawhead Rex? Wasn't that one of Clive Barker's short stories from Books of Blood from like the early 80s?
Yeah. And
no,
it was this movie.
Are we putting Clive Barker under the table? Oh man.
No. This is what happened. So Clive Barker wasn't the director of it.
No, he hated it. He hated the movie, but it was
wasn't it one of his books?
Yeah, it was. It was one of his characters. It was one of his books. And I mean, Tone, take it because you did the research and all that on it on Clive Barker.
It was just essentially that. It was part of the research I was looking up, but like he distanced himself and has nothing to do with.
Okay.
You know, it's one of those projects where like they
okay.
take it and then they bastardize
They
it.
change it.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, I think the scene that did it for us all was the priest getting the getting the R. Kelly shower. That's what we'll call it.
No, just let's not even use that man's name. He got a piss baptism.
What's crazy is that you saw the zipper for the rubber suit in the back.
It's rough, man. It's not good.
Like, you know, there's like levels of like when you your friends watch like cheesy B-list or C-list movies. Like that was so far down the alphabet. Like Z is not how bad that movie was.
Z list.
It was so bad. Like, oh.
I mean, you do get a kid that gets eaten in the movie. But go ahead.
When you see stuff like that, I think the older I get, the more I'm like, what was the meeting where like the four of us were like, that's good. Print it, put it in theaters across America. And like then years later, it's just like, what were you high? Like what were you thinking? Who
signed off on this?
Who said this is good? Right? It's like who watched Jar Jar for the Phantom Menace and saw that and said, this is great. Print that, put it in the movie. Like, and you're just like years later, like what was going on and what was going on? Like, what was that meeting? I want the meeting. That's what I want to see. Where someone said, "This is great. I approve this."
This was the idea. Jason, what is a horror movie you've seen over the years that you've come to question? How did this get made?
Man, you know, it's funny because I've been trying to stick to good horror films. Let me think. A horror film where I questioned how it got made. I love the original 3 Romero Dead films, and then I remember they made Land of the Dead, and I remember just kind of just seeing parts of it, I think on home video, and then shutting it off. Where I was like, "How did this get made?" And then there was Return of the Living Dead, which was classic, and then I remember as a kid going with my father to see the sequel, and I just remember even as a kid just being like, "What?" And I think probably my number one horror film that I remember just disappointed me beyond belief, talking to Aliens. So when Alien 3 came out, I would have been like 16. And I remember going to the comic book store near my house in Lancaster. And I remember at the time, it was like they started to put movie ads like that were full gloss color photos on the back of like Marvel books. And I remember having this like heart palpitation excitement about Alien 3, and just because you love Alien, you love aliens, you try to see them on, you know, copied VHS tapes at the time. And I just remember just being like, man, I am ready to go see Alien 3. Like I was like 110% in. And I remember I went and it was just kind of like, what? And it was such an underwhelming film. And I know people have tried to kind of defend it. Well, there's a director's cut and it wasn't that bad. And I'm like, man, you can't hide your feelings. Like when you go to that stuff, I mean, I was jonesed. I mean, you know how much I like Alien, yes. Right? Yeah. And I remember I just went, I mean, as a kid, and I was just like, and I've tried to rewatch it as an adult, and like, I'm still like 16-year-old me and adult me, we're like underwhelming. I agree with Cheyenne. You're just kind of like, that's what you did. Like you killed Hicks and Newt in the first off screen. That's how you started. And then the whole film was like, hey, it's a bunch of guys with shaved heads, and you know, it just was, and there's one alien, and it just was so bad. And like, there's worse horror films, but I just remember just walking out of that and just being like, what did you do? So I mean, like, I can't believe that someone said this is great, especially those first 2 films are so iconic.
Yes,
I mean, the back and forth with Yaphet Kotto, and I can't think of the other man's name. It's slipping my mind, right? They have that whole back and forth about money and Alien. We get bonus, full share. Like Yaphet Kotto is like the social commentary in the movie because he's like, "Are we getting paid?" Like that in and of itself is like so good. Just him bitching about money, and then the robot is like, "Well, you don't get paid according to your contract unless you go there," you know. And he's like, you know. Like he plays it so good because he relates to you. I don't remember anything like that in Alien 3. So you're just kind of like you both those films are so good. Just the little
things.
Yeah, but I mean, I just think they just haven't. I feel like they just haven't been able to capture that since Aliens. You know, like
No.
Aliens 3 is a trash. I don't care for Resurrection. Like Aliens 3 and Resurrection are just ones I've watched once just to say I've watched them and that's it. You know,
Terrible.
and you know, they did Covenant, which me and Seabass saw in theaters, which, you know, we enjoyed it for what it was, you know, and Prometheus is trying to do something, and I don't know, it's just after Cameron, it just takes a fucking swan dive, and you know, some definitely sink to the ground and some are kind of floating, you know, and I feel the same way with the Predator series too. Just, you know, Predator 1 is like
Harry Dean Stanton, that's who it was. Harry Dean Stanton and Yaphet Kotto, that's who I'm thinking of. I just looked it up. But yeah. I think the problem with a lot of horror franchises in general is like, I've rewatched Predator recently. It could be one of the best action films you've ever made. It hasn't aged. It's over the top, but the cast is just, it's lights out, and it's such an efficient movie, and it's so well done. And like every film's, it's like, we're going to start here and then we're just going to kind of go downhill. And, you know, I think a lot of these films, there isn't that much story to tell, but we try to keep stretching it out. And it's like, they're great ideas for like a sprint. It ain't a marathon. Like Alien.
Not everything needs to be a franchise.
That, and
100%. 100% what he just said. Not everything is a franchise. I think Highlander is one of the best just one-off films ever. There's like 7 sequels. None of them make any sense.
I hate that I love them so much, but good Lord, they should have stopped at like 3.
I think you stop at 1, but no, I mean, I think that's the problem about these films is they don't have any ideas, and there's diminishing returns, and then they just get so played out. I mean, you look at Terminator. Oh man,
it's like you hope. It's like Terminator is one of those series that you hope every fucking time. You hope it's good, and it always lets you down. like consistently, no matter what. They can bring back the original cast, everybody. It's still gonna fucking suck.
I watched Dark Fate on Prime. I was like, I'm not paying to see this theater, so I threw it on some weekend. I was drawn, just threw it on the TV, and I'm like, wait. So now you got a 70-some-year-old Arnold Schwarzenegger playing a Terminator that has a wife that's bugging him with a kid, and I'm like, again. Who put that on paper and said, awesome, we want to have old Terminator with a wife and a kid? And
they're just like what's gonna sell? Arnold Schwarzenegger and the original Sarah Connor. That's what's gonna sell. People will see it just for that bullshit. And I'm just
okay, so check it out, right? Like, my dad's like 73 years old, right? So Harrison Ford is making this new Indiana Jones film. He's like 8. He's 80. So I'm like, my dad gets tired if he does some stuff, or he'll like play with my kids and he'll take a nap or like chill out, you know, or hey, slow down, son, you know. And I'm thinking, so a guy that's 7 years older than my dad is knocking the crap out of like 20-somethings, like with his fists and a gun, and then he's gonna get the girl. And I'm like, I love my dad, but I'm like, a guy older than my dad is gonna, and I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. Like at all. And it's like, I get we love old Harrison Ford when he was like 40. Like he's got 80.
We needed Indy Jr. That's what we needed. But he went crazy. Shia LaBeouf.
But in that new Terminator, Arnold looks old. And Linda Hamilton, I love Linda Hamilton in her older films, but I'm like, I'm not buying. How old is she now? Like 70 something? I mean, what?
I don't know if she's that old, but I think she's up there. Hold on.
Do you really buy her like running around fighting with guns? It just mentally I can't. I'm like, I don't even like. Can't they have age appropriate roles?
I mean, it's that whole thing again where it's nostalgia. They want to give into the nostalgia.
Linda Hamilton's only 65.
It is nostalgia. That's all it is. It's feeding off nostalgia, and you know, like, even when coming back to like the monster stuff, I Law, mentioned like. Nothing has to be a series. And I just feel that a lot of these movies now crutch on the technology we have now. Like what made monster movies so good was the fact that these directors and creators either had to work off, real effects, right? Or suspense came from not seeing the monster. And when you did see the monster, it was worth it.
Yeah.
So if you look at Aliens, if we rewatched it, the four of us together, if we got a case of beer and some popcorn and we just sat in a room and watched it, like that film looks real, and it's guys in suits. Like, so do you remember when Dietrich, when the alien just like grabs her and snatches her up? Like, it's a quick cut. You're kind of jarred, and it was like a guy on a rope, and like it looks like a woman who weighs about 150 pounds getting sucked into the ceiling, because it literally is a woman being literally dragged into the ceiling by a guy on a rope rig, and it's very scary.
Yeah,
I think.
Well, that's why the
test of time. Like even like I was watching Jurassic Park with my kids like 2 days ago, and like even that shit's still. I mean, Industrial Light and Magic are fucking wizards. ILM is just wizardry of what they're able to do.
Very, very limited CGI because they didn't have much.
Yeah.
So a lot of that stuff was like switching between like models and then like a little bit of CGI when they had to. I think having too much has let them run wild. Like, you look at The Thing. I mean, the worst part in The Thing probably is the stop motion animation near the end, but I'll give them a pass because I get what they were doing. But like, it's all makeup. Like when Wilford Brimley puts his fingers in that dude's face near the end, it's a rubber, but if I punched one of you or hit you, or we put a squib in you and went, you'll react correctly because it's real. So if I push you, reaction. But when it's like, okay, so, Tone, jump backwards because this thing's going to pretend to push you. You're not going to do it. The eye will betray you because you're going to look at it and be like, it doesn't, like, it's not the same as you getting actually pushed. Dude, you look at, I'm not getting mad. Fellowship of the Ring. I love Fellowship of the Ring. With the orcs, it was like dudes in makeup. Yeah. I found this out later because I couldn't stand the Hobbit trilogy. They literally, this is like the cruelest thing ever. The guys that were the orcs, every day, makeup. And then they were like, let's CGI over them. And they look terrible. And it's like, what reasoning did you have to say, all right, you three, full makeup every day and prosthetics and hair and costumes? Then I'm like, yeah, we'll just CGI them.
Yeah,
so because they wanted those high frames. I think they were because that's when the Hobbit came out with those high frames. But Lord of the Rings also stands the fucking test of time. Like, it's like you just can't beat practical effects.
By the way, if Cheyenne has like a political party, I'm into it because everything she's saying, I agree with. She's smart.
It's just something else. And I think like action movies and big budget movies, like you can do the CGI, and we're here for it because you can contain the spectacle of it all. Like watching Marvel and being like, it's just CGI everywhere. Cool, but like monster movies, like they need to feel real to be scary. Otherwise, it's just like, what am I watching?
I dare say this. I think a lot of horror B movies are better than a lot of the newer horror movies that are coming out, because even then they had to use a lot of practical effects. Like, and I was glad you brought up The Thing, Jason, because if you look at the prequel for The Thing, the directors were upset because they wanted to use more practical effects, but the studio kind of went behind their back and went in for all the special effects, which you can see the difference in the two movies. One of the ones is scarier than the others, and the Thing itself, the original one, still stands up to the test of time with the practical effects.
What defines other than the obvious of nice, other than the obvious of like, studio budget and let's say like a couple $100 million thrown at it, a project being a A-list and a B-list? Because at this point, like to Sebastian's point, we're getting a lot of B-list stuff that's coming out that's better than the stuff that Hollywood's making, and we're like, can we just get that again? Like, if we just stuck to that, we'd be great.
Yeah, I just feel it just feels like you're moving backwards.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. It's like I've spoken to my my wife about this. When I want to watch a scary movie, I always lean on the past. It's just I can't there's nothing now moving forward. Like, it's like whatever that made something scary is gone. Or something thrilling is gone after you get through like a bunch of sequels. Like Saw 1 and 2 are fantastic thrillers.
What was that?
Let the right one in.
I never saw that one.
No, this film is like low budget European vampire stuff, and like it's great. And there's documentaries on how they did the special effects, and they're all kind of like low. Like, can we talk spoilers? Have you guys seen that movie?
I haven't seen it, but we can talk spoilers.
Just whatever.
So spoilers, there's a part near the end of the film where there's this kid that's bullying kind of the main character. It's kind of a slim, kind of really wispy kid that would be like 90 pounds wet. And this guy takes a switchblade and is like, I'm going to put you in this pool for 3 minutes. Like he's going to drown him. And they show this kid underwater struggling. And then all of a sudden the hand holding him like just falls in the water. And you see 2 feet get put in the pool and just get dragged. And like, it's the vampire that's basically like killing all the people that are bullying its friend. And, on the special effects, how they show it, it's very small, where it's just a guy in a rig, and like it's so creepy and unsettling when you watch it. But it's just like a guy in like a little boom crane, just like a little just wheels. And like I think we've gotten away from impact by storytelling, because like that film, The Bully, is so creepy, and the young actor playing the teenage bully, he's very scary, and he's just an 18-year-old or 19-year-old kid, but he just is like, that was the kid that was picking on you if you were getting picked on when you were a kid, and he is not friendly. And to me, he's better than a million CGI creeps, because he's actually he's just the script, the acting, the dialogue. He's a very unsettling teenager.
And I was reading what McFarlane wants to do with Spawn, the new Spawn. He wants to kind of make it horror, but and in a way, with Spawn, similar to older horror movies like with Jaws and all that, you show the creature less, and that's what he wants to do, is just show Spawn less and focus more on the characters and the story to kind of give you that horror element. And like when you brought up The Thing, what was great about John Carpenter's The Thing, you didn't see the creature until like when it made relevant for the story, but he leaned on that paranoia. It was the same thing about Jaws. You didn't see the shark. All you had was a fin most of the time, and then that music that hit when it was just like this quiet scenes, that music, dun dun dun, and some fucked up shit was about to happen. And when the shark came and you saw the shark, that was it. That it was like, oh, okay. And that's what made people jump out of their seats. I mean, it created a lot of paranoia too for people who were afraid to go to the beach because of sharks. But that's how when you got people, when you really made something special in horror, when you can do that and you don't have to rely too much on the creature, and you're using those practical effects for those special scenes when you do see that horror element.
I'd also like to say that not only does it not rely on the creature itself and rely on the story, but it also doesn't rely on, like, anyone can give you a good jump scare. Jump scares, I feel, are so much more cheap when they keep happening. It's because now the audience is like, oh, I'm looking out for a jump scare. Oh, yeah, what are the cases? And I was talking about this on my Twitch stream the other day when I was playing some games. I was like, give me, like, the suspense and then nothing. That's fucking creepy, because I know I saw something. I know something's there, or should there be something there? And then you let the audience play with those ideas of just like, are they seeing what they're seeing? Are they like, and you'll have an audience like gripping their seat going, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. And then when it finally does happen, they're losing their minds, because not only is it a satisfying scare, but it's a,
Did you guys see VHS 94 yet on Shudder?
I don't think I saw 94 yet. I saw the other ones, but I haven't seen VHS 94 yet. Okay.
Without spoilers, it's a very uneven production. There's some parts that are really good, and there's some parts that are just like I give it a C plus. But there was one of the segments is one of the ones in the trailer where you see a coffin bouncing at a funeral parlor, and there's a young woman there, and they just show like a clip in the trailer, so that's not a spoiler. But like that segment, what Law just said about just you're very tense, and there's a whole lot of nothing that happens in that segment. You're just kind of sitting there being like, and then they don't pay off much, right? And but a lot of watching that segment is just kind of like, segment might have been the best part of the film, but that was very just kind of like you kept waiting for the jump scare, and there's scares, but they don't time them the way that you normally do. And again, I'm kind of just sitting there on my couch like, oh, when's it going to happen? And then and then this girl's just got a flashlight or whatever, and you're just kind of like, you're waiting, and they don't pay it.
the best ones are where they give you nothing and they get you comfortable again. They get you back into like the, all right, we're good, we're safe now. Normal conversation, kitchen dinner, whatever the case is, and then bam, that's when it happens. Like when that stress like comes all the way back down, and you're just like get real comfortable. And then something happens, you're like, oh shit, I just came back down.
So,
what are you doing?
So, question for the group: what is your favorite jump scare?
Oh,
I can go first if you'd like.
Go first, son. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So my favorite jump scare of all time is Deep Blue Sea. It is my favorite jump scare because it has no business being there. It is the only jump scare in that entire shark movie, and it is fucking worth it. It's the best. It's the best. It gets me. I love it. I love it so much.
I think you stole everybody's favorite right there.
No. I mean, I have a few, but they vary from from pieces of media. Because
Jason, you good?
Man, this is like getting put on the spot in a job interview. Can you tell me, sir, your favorite jump scare? And you're like, tell me when you work with a team to create something that didn't work, but you pulled it out, and you're like, okay, man, this is hard. I got to think. Jeez.
So for video games, that works a little bit different. I have so many good jump scares from video games that I couldn't even pull them out. But from movies, and it's funnier now because like now that I know the jump scare, and I remember showing it to my little cousin back in the day, like full lights on, she jumped from one end of the bed back to like the back of the bed. She was like watching all intently and just went, ah! It's the Texas Chainsaw remake. So the first one out of the remake series, when he comes out of the wall and snatches the girl. And I was just waiting, looking at her going, got away, right? And she's like, hey, and like that wall, like jumping out of the wall was so unexpected. Got me good. But watching it over and watching like my little cousin like freak out about it was chef's kiss.
Some of the early Friday the 13th stuff with Jason, when it's just like, is you're a kid and you're watching Friday the 13th, and then there are these crazy kills, like what was it, just a hatchet that comes out of nowhere, and those were some of the jump scares that used to get me. But the classic, and Jason's gonna love this one, is Alien, when the very first chest buster scene happened, because not even the actors in that scene knew about it. And that's what makes that scene even more scary, because their reactions are all authentic because they didn't know what the fuck was going to happen.
Mechanical, like spraying out blood and shit. I mean, it's so, and we've cheapened that alien thing up, like where there's just aliens and stuff everywhere. But that first thing with the chest burster at the dinner table,
it's a classic scene. And
could you imagine
what was it? The actress was like screaming too. The actress, I forgot her name, but she was like, yeah, when she was talking about how she was just really screaming, all the blood is just splattering on her. They're like, dude, we felt so bad, but it splattered all on her, and that's her real reaction. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I think I saw somewhere that Stanley Kubrick like asked to come and see some like that fascinated him, and if it fascinated Kubrick, like that got him.
Wow, that's amazing.
So it's like one of the greatest directors of all time. Like that was like one thing that like tickled his curiosity. So I mean, it's like if he was interested in it, it's like, okay, cool. Like that it must be good then.
Oh man,
I actually got an oldie but goodie. If Jason doesn't have one yet, Jason,
I'm still thinking.
Well, I have an oldie but goodie. This is like something from because my dad isn't really like a horror person per se, but he loves like the Vincent Price stuff and like Edgar Allan Poe, so things of that nature. And as kids, like he would read us Edgar Allan Poe books, and like around this time, and then he would have us watch like House on Haunted Hill and all these other like little like slightly spooky, but what have you. But the first time, I must have been like 10, let's say, watching House on Haunted Hill for the first time, the old black and white. The entire movie, creepy as hell. As an adult, I could watch it and be like, all right, cool. That entire movie, as a 10-year-old kid, I'm just like on the edge of my seat. The best jump scare, like as a kid, was that ending where you're downstairs in the basement and they get the ghost coming out, and it's just like, oh, the house is really haunted. Oh, but as a kid, I was like, no, absolutely not. I'm not here for it. Adult me is like, obviously that looks fake, and obviously, you know, oh my gosh. But for that time, I can only imagine being in theaters at that time when that came out and people just losing their minds for how well placed and how well timed that was.
Okay, so I got my jump scare. So 1987, John Carpenter's Prince of Darkness, which is such a weird of religious / zombie survival weird film. There's a lot of weird shit in that movie. And then and then the one guy's kind of a friend type character like gets into the like held through a mirror and he disappears. And then they think they've won. And they've won the day, and then the guy with kind of the big Magnum PI mustache goes home, and he's in bed, and he wakes up, and he turns on his pillow, and his girlfriend's there with her skin going off, and it's just one of those like, oh, you know what I mean? Because you're not expecting that. And then it cuts, and he wakes up, and then there's this whole thing in the movie with mirrors and people coming through mirrors, and then you know at the end he goes up to like touch a mirror, and you're like, oh boy, here it goes. But that jump scare with the woman in the bed. I mean, there's probably better ones, but that one just comes to mind. That one is kind of old. One that kind of still gives me like, whoa, you know, because the guy turns and there's this lady with no skin in the bed, you know.
What's a video game that you guys could not play in the dark, a horror game? And I mean, the first one for me, I have to pick is Dead Space when that first came out. When I played Dead Space, I couldn't play it in the dark, and it took monsters, xenomorphs, and zombies to a whole new level, because in all the zombie games or games that had to deal with like killing monsters, then you just pow, you shoot them and they they fall. No, you had to dismember them, otherwise these fuckers are still coming after you. And then when they're coming out of because they did this really beautiful thing of like a really recreating that paranoia, that isolation feeling that I remember watching with the thing, that the whole like dark sci-fi effect that you saw in Aliens.
Lighting, oh my God. The lighting messes you up because you're just like, is that something in the dark?
Yeah,
and then
it really,
sure enough, you're like, I can't see the vents. Pop down the vents.
Really messes with you that first game. And I think they really defined the horror genre when it was dying at that point in games. And it was like, nope. We hold my beer. And yeah, I couldn't play that game in the dark. I had to always have the lights on.
I have a game that I was never able to finish, which was Condemned. I think it was like Criminal something. Condemned. That game freaked me out. I remember one of my buddies back in the day was like, yo, check it out because I know you like this. And I was like, sure. I got through the first chapter. And I'm talking about like I got through it, but like barely. Like, but it was rough. Because the whole game is nope. It is a nope. The amount of like you don't feel safe in the game was that game.
Damn.
There's lack of like weapons, ammo. There's lack of health. All the things that you think you would find, nah. Then it's not even like these things are like spooky entities. They're just criminally insane people who got let loose into the thing. So they're out, they're doing their thing and what have you. And there's parts of the game where you're like going through like that first chapter and the game forces you to like walk like into places that you would normally be like, that seems like a place I shouldn't go. So I'm going to go that way. The game was like, nah, sorry, this exit just gets blocked off. So now you have to go down the creepy to the hallway that has the light flickering. You're like, I don't want to. So you start walking and the door with the pane glass window has a guy just pressed up against it. All of a sudden you're like, where the fuck did you come from? So that game was such a like one of my buddies plays it now and I'm just like, I can never get back into it. I want to, but it's so bad.
Just real quick, speaking of that, have any of you watched Black Summer on Netflix?
Oh, I saw the first season. I saw the first season of Black
I just
Summer.
watched the second season. That's like it's almost like a video game because it's a lot of little short cut stuff. That show is stressful to watch.
It is.
But
And
the second
It is
season,
that.
It's
Wait,
called Black
What?
Summer.
Black Summer?
Yeah.
Like, yo, you see me
Summer.
and Tone like, what do we have to put on our list?
like,
I saw
honestly,
the
look,
first
we
season.
didn't talk about the game here in a minute, but like I just thought of that because that show was just it's a lot of like each episode is like multiple little like 2 to 4 to 10 to 15-minute vignettes with like random characters doing stuff. It is a like season 1 was stressful. Season 2 was even more stressful where it's like
I had to give it a
people
break.
in a
That's how
house-
stressful.
Like I got stressed watching it out in my house wearing like my sweatpants and a sweatshirt. I'm like, I'm stressed out sitting here like an ass and I'm not in these like it like if you get it is a stressful show. Like you watch it, you're like, whew, I did a lot of work sitting on my couch just now.
Bro,
It's like you watch it, you're just kind of like because they'll do like weird camera angles where like you'll see a guy in the foreground and you'll see a guy walking in the background. You're like, oh no, who's that? And then like you'll see the person start to run at the person you're looking at. Like there's like an episode in the second season where there's a guy in a car and he's trying to start it, and you just see this guy like 100 yards away turn and start running towards the car, and you're like, oh no, and like they just and then the guy and you're like, oh. But yeah, Black Summer.
Man.
You guys,
All right.
you seriously, it's like a job to watch this show.
It is. I think it was Black Summer, I believe, was a spin-off though of the sci-fi show. It was a zombie show because they mention it.
Z Nation.
Z Nation, yeah. But Black
It's from the
Summer,
same.
Nation.
It's from the same studio, I think.
yeah, it's a spin-off of Z Nation because they talk about Black Summer, like how everything started, because I guess this is like the world after that. But Black Summer, it just the production quality, and I'm glad you brought that up. The production quality, everything, the storytelling, like definitely they got that budget for it now. And it just it doesn't feel cheesy, like a little cheesy like Z Nation. It really like that stress factor, even like that first season, like when I opened up with the second season, I'm like, okay, I got to give this a little bit of break because I feel you with that stress. It's like, oh wow,
hard
this is
to
beautiful. It's oh man, that along with Train to Busan, I have to say are two shows and movies that really bumped up the zombie genre and gave that new life right there. And I was just like, this is just beautiful.
Classic.
Tone, what's your scariest video game?
I don't really have one. Like I was like, because I watched Resident Evil when like my dad would be playing. I watched him play. I would say, if I have to say a scariest video game moment, I would be like Resident Evil 1 when the Hunters showed up, because that shit was wild. Like original Resident Evil, not the new ones, the original ones, because the Hunters would fucking. First of all, Resident Evil 1, 2, 3, Code Veronica had that horrible control system where your character did that rotation on the single axis. You couldn't really go anywhere. Right. You had no ammo, and Resident Evil 1 was really big on jump scares anyway, because you would have the dogs going through the windows and all this. And I remember with the Hunters, I forgot, I think it's after the lab with the shark. You leave, you go back to the mansion, and he goes to a cutscene, and you see this thing just walking, first person view, like you just hear it like doing its ad. It has hands, and the whole thing was that these motherfuckers opened the doors. So that was the thing with the Hunters. The Hunters opened the doors, and they would hide in the corners. And if Jill or Chris had just low enough health, when the Hunter would jump the corner, it would decapitate you. Game over.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Resident Evil 1 Hunters were like legit.
Yeah.
So this is the embarrassing part of the show where I reveal that my video game technology is the original Wii and PlayStation 2 still in effect in our house, and we play Wii bowling.
There you go.
Like,
There you go.
Good.
yeah, the last video game I seriously played, and again, I'm waiting for you guys to like pelt me with rocks, is Grand Theft Auto Vice City.
Oh, they gonna belt you for that one. That's still a classic.
Listen, my favorite out of the franchise is Vice City.
Yeah,
I love
so
Vice
like
City.
so to me, I had those games, and then I kind of hit a point in my life where I just stopped playing video games, and like I play like Words with Friends with my wife, which I don't know, maybe that's so, no. I'm so here's the thing. I think I missed the entire horror video game genre. I just never, when I was playing games, I just didn't. It wasn't. I kind of remember playing a Resident Evil or two. I don't recall them actually being scary. I wasn't like, holy shit. But I mean, I have heard a lot of people saying that Alien Isolation is like a really
Yeah.
scary
it is.
game because it's it's like can you hide in the
You
desk?
can't-
Yeah, the monster is overpowered, so that's the whole.
Yeah.
The whole point is like you can't kill the alien, so that's the
Right.
Also, too,
Yeah.
it has the AI that they designed for the alien in that game. It kind of changes up the gameplay all the time. So it's like, yeah, it's not like this whole thing like with other horror games where you hide here, the creature's gonna pass by you, like you can already tell what's gonna happen. No, the fucker will find you and it will fucking kill you. And it has all these beautiful like. Oh, my buddy was playing it. He was streaming it. Mayhem Mike, shout out to him. And he was trying to play it on an extra hard level. So he got killed every way that you can in the game. In this one stage that he was still trying to get out, he was like, dude, what the fuck? How did it get me from here? And it would just always just sneak up on him. And it was just like, yeah. And then he'll see it right there, kill a couple of guys. And then it was like all of a sudden it was like he backs up to try to hide. This is how crazy it is. He knocked something over and the creature heard him, looked, and then it went into the vent. So he thought he was good. It came out from the vent behind him to fucking grab him from behind. Just like that. He was like, dude, what the fuck? So it was just like really hunting him.
Yeah, they're fast.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, that
for
game
as big as they are, they're fucking fast as fuck in that game.
Man,
The original Alien, they had a young man, and I think he passed away. Like they hired an actor that was like 6'11" or something. He was just a big man, and something happened. He died like not long after Alien. But when Alien looks big, it's because, and then the head, his head was in the neck, but the guy was like, he was like an NBA player type big. So I mean, when you see Alien and it's big, it's because it's freaking big. It's a big man.
Oh yeah. But we're about to come to the hour, but I want to share this with you guys with the spirit of Halloween. It's not a horror monster. No, it's not. It's not scary. I know we've been talking about monsters, but for some reason, Ninja Turtles are now crossing over in the toy line with Cobra Kai.
What? What?
We needed that.
Guys, yes, we did. We really needed that because that's what we asked for. Danny LaRusso taking on Michelangelo, John Creasum taking on Raphael, Johnny Lawrence taking on Donatello, and Miguel Diaz from the new series for Cobra Kai taking on Leonardo. Yes, they're in Halloween costumes. That's what they are. They're beating up guys who are in Halloween costumes. That's what they're doing. They're being the bullies right here.
Oh my god.
But Jason, let us give you the floor because right now we'll give you the plug to plug away your book. We'll go in the back, so plug it in, bro.
So guys, Satanic Coloring Book is on Kickstarter. I have it pinned up on my Instagram and Twitter, which is just at Lenox Artist, Lenox Artist. It's pinned on my website, jasonlenox.com. And it's also on my Facebook page, Jason Lenox, Facebook.com/Jason Lenox Illustrator. So like I said, Facebook, my website, Instagram, and Twitter, they're all easy ways to find the Kickstarter, or just look me up using Google, Satanic Coloring Book on Kickstarter, Jason Lenox, you'll find it really easily. But any of those social media, I'm easy to get a hold of. If you're like, help, Jason, I can't figure it out, just go on one of my things and tag me, and I will spell it out for you. I will hold your hand and take you to the promised land so you can color deliciously in my Satanic Coloring Books. As always, Nerds of the Round, thank you so much for having me a guest in your virtual home. You are wonderful hosts. I hope one day we can all hang out in person and watch horror films and critique everything and be very nitpicky and critical and still have fun.
There we go.
There we go.
This is
Jason,
probably too many people in the background, but yes.
No, Jason, it's a pleasure. We're glad that we had you back on. Again, it is awesome. I'm glad that we've been able to connect. And yes, the in person. That's why I go, dude. When the HorrorCon comes here, definitely. If you're at that HorrorCon over here, we're gonna definitely jump on the table. You're not too far from us. Hopefully, we're looking one day to do something in person because again, there are a lot of people that we just want to hang out with in person. You are definitely one of them, bro. We are definitely gonna geek out.
Atlantic City show, send me information so I know what's going on, because sometimes someone will say do it and then I'll forget about it, but just send me the information when you have it, because I'd like to check it out. That sounds fun.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna pick on my buddy who usually does it. So be like, hey, what's that horror show information? And have him send it to me. And if he's listening, Hash, if you're listening, send that freaking information. But no, Jason, again, congratulations on the Kickstarter, guys. If you want to support the Kickstarter, please do. Do support the Kickstarter. The link is in the description. And if you want to learn more about Jason Lenox, we had an awesome interview with him that we did for our creator series. The link is also in the description there, so you could go back and watch it and learn about his other series, Lords of the Cosmos, which again is a magnus opus, awesome comic that if you love space operas and everything like that, if you love seeing great outlandish villains out there and great outlandish heroes that just look phenomenal, his inking style is just awesome. And if you want to commission him, follow his links because this guy kills it with his commissions, kills it his work. It's very beautiful work, and you can see it too on the Kickstarter with the pages that he put out there for the coloring book. Jason, again, thank you for coming. This has been the spooky episode. Told you right for that. Ready to say spooky, Tone. Say spooky.
Spooky.
Man, this has been another episode of Nerds of the Rounds, guys. I've been your host, Sebastian.
It's a boy Law.
Anyway, Tone from across the hall.
Stay
Catch you guys later.
nerdy.
Later.
Peace.